Peace. I hope that you are taking good intentional care. I have been spending some time with my ancestral fathers and felt compelled to offer some care and some support. I will be opening my books for some individual divinations for the ancestral fathers. So if you want a message specific to you and your lineage, you can check the link in my bio or in the comments to access. So, the collective message that was coming up, the ancestral fathers want some of us to revisit our resolutions, our resolves, and for others, they want you to get some resolutions and some resolves about yourself, okay? Because they also say respect yourself enough to follow through for you. Respect yourself enough to follow through for you. Respect yourself enough to follow through for you. The ancestral proverb says, you may be disappointed if you fail, but you are doomed if you do not try. Some of you may be frustrated with your processes. You may be frustrated with some projects. You may be feeling irritated and frustrated with the lack of progress or lack of support that you feel should be coming through for you. And this is not actually indicative of the true support and the actual support that is coming through, because there's something that you're learning about process. There's something that you're learning to respect regarding your own crafting. There's something that you're learning regarding your craft, how you're cultivating your gifts, your skills, and your talents. And they're like, don't lose respect because of other people's responsiveness to what you say, what you share, what you're creating, or what you're wanting to do. And perhaps the ancestral fathers are wanting to have a conversation with you around your contributions, but also reciprocity. Okay? Concern is like medicine. So there's an energy here of them wanting to ensure that those of you who are needing supplemental resources, if you need to apply for something that's supplemental, if you need something that could be sliding scale, if you need a way to be made because you've been trying on your own and it's not working out the way that you anticipated, have a conversation with them about the corrective actions and experiences that you need to have, right? And so on one hand, I definitely feel that the ancestral fathers are extending their respect, and they're also acknowledging that if there was anything that you have gotten the sense to leave or gotten the sense to put behind you or gotten the sense to like, let me put this down for now. Let me go for a walk and see how I feel when I come back. Let me put this down and not return to it, right? Because on one hand, they're like, how can we help you intervene those moments when you are spiraling? How can we offer support with the interventions that are needed regarding the spiral? And sometimes the spiral is necessary. But if the spiral is a spiral that is happening to your own detriment, to the point where when you finally reach that stopping point, if there is self deprecation or very negative or harsh self talk or criticism for having the emotional expressions that were coming up or for not feeling regulated to be able to intervene, like that's also something to tend, because it doesn't have to get to that point, right? Like if you need to crash out, fine, right? But also, what's the aftercare after the crash out? What's the aftercare after the crash out? How do you orient yourself in those moments of spiraling? And actually, on the days and moments where you don't feel good or where you're not feeling like yourself, or you're not whatever your expected or anticipated capacity is, you do not have that. Who are the supports that you have access to? Where are your emotional resources? What are your social resources? What are your spiritual resources? What are your spiritual tools? What coping strategies are available to you? Okay. So the other thing that is coming up, some of us, and there, which is interesting, finicky, right? The finicky friends is coming up. Some ancestors, like, when somebody's no good or no count. My people is country, so the no count, right? Meaning sometimes you know that folks you can't count on, and that doesn't change the fact that there may be moments where we are desiring a level of care from them, where we're desiring and hoping that someone would change, that someone would recognize that we are worthy of them doing the thing that we need them to do for us. We're worthy of them being responsive to us in the ways that we need them to be responsive of to us of. And your worthiness is not a question. But the ancestors want us to stop going to people and stop reaching for people that have demonstrated that they don't have the capacity to show up in the ways that we need them to show up for us, that they don't have the capacity to treat us the way that we need to be treated, or that they're choosing to not show up or to not treat us that way. And so they also want us to practice a healthy detachment from associating our value and our worth with other folk and how they treat us, how they show up, their actions and their behaviors. Okay. The other thing that is coming through in terms of general care is some herbal foot soaks. And some of you, it may be beneficial to do some cleansing work with some salt and some vinegar. Okay. Foot care is especially coming up because hell yeah, open them roads. All right, let's get some guidance for the pick a card groups. I think this is gonna be quick. We're gonna do 3 groups. Okay, so if you need to just take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. If there's a particular area of concern or question that you have for the ancestral fathers, consider that and choose a group 1, 2, or 3. All right. So, ain't no need to worry what the night is gonna bring. It'll be all over in the morning. Yeah, and sometimes, right, like, and one more thing before, as I'm pulling these for the group. So they're like, sometimes you need to give yourself like 48 hours, right? Like, if you're like, let me give myself 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. Like, sometimes you really do need to give yourself some time and some space. And some of you, it's like it ain't nothing but space and opportunity. And that could be on the positive end and spectrum of things. And some of you, that could be on the um hey yo, we knucking and bucking and ready to fight, okay? So calm down. All right, calm down. And I know you don't want to hear that for whoever needs this. All right. Put some cool water on your forehead, on the back of your neck. All right. Keep it cool and keep it cute. All right. If you chose group 1, your proverb says the cultivator is alone, but those who eat are many. Examine what is said, not him who speaks. While the sun is shining, bask in it. So group 1, for some of you, the ancestors may come to you specifically when there are things going on with your relatives and your loved ones, even if you're not in communication with them, or they're not active and participatory in your life. And so they also want you to know that the burden of healing regarding the lineage or carrying their legacy forward is not solely on you. But the ancestors are acknowledging the quiet moments, the work that you've been doing in isolation. They're also acknowledging your community contributions, the work that you have been doing collectively, the work that you've been doing with your people. The ancestors are also affirming like the work that you have been doing to tend some of those subconscious scripts and narratives that have come up and that at one point may have interfered with your self concept, that may have interfered with you embodying truth, embodying your gifting. And so there's affirmation of your body and your embodiment. There's affirmation of your spirit and your willingness to listen to your spirit, your willingness to listen to your first mind, your willingness to do the work that your soul must have of you, as Reverend Dr. Katie Geneva Cannon has encouraged us to do. And so for some of you also, you may be surprised by your own gifting. Some of you have some offerings or projects or creations that you've been tending, that you've been working, that you haven't quite come out with those things yet. But I feel when those things do come out, or when you make them public, or when you share whatever it is that you've been working on in private, like I definitely feel that that would be something that is going to be well received. And be secure in your intuition, be secure in your first mind, be secure in your ancestral consciousness. For some of you also, if there's been any decisions that you've had to make around money or work or career or finance, I feel that one, if you need a divination, right, book a divination. Um, if matters have been unclear, but if you've been receiving nudges and guidance in your dream space or in your own divinations, right? Like, at what point do you have enough data and evidence to make the decisions that you need to make for you? Group two, you always learn a lot more when you lose than when you win. Man, know thyself. There are no shortcuts to the top of the palm tree. Grief and joy must coexist. And sometimes you get agitated and irritated right before the breakthrough. Sometimes you get agitated and irritated before you get to the place of peace. Sometimes you're agitated and irritated so that you can finally accept what you've been rejecting. And you can reject the things that you've been tolerating that you don't need to accept. So for some of you, there's been some working specific to grief, specific to loss, specific to your relationships. And so on one hand, right, you may be looking back over your life and in retrospect, and some of this could be nostalgia, some of this could be missing people that were a part of your life. And sometimes, sometimes we miss people that we don't want to miss, but to be dishonest about our missing someone or our longing, right, doesn't actually help us to process or metabolize those emotions as they come up. So if there are any memories from the past, any thoughts from the past about people, places, and things that once were that are no more, you can acknowledge them and allow those things to pass through. You don't need to allow the grief to hold you captive in that regard. For some of you, if you have been asking for, petitioning, praying for, calling forth new connections, new relationships, and this is across the relational spectrum, you have also the Adon card, which, is the magician card. So you got the magician, the ace of hearts, and the five of hearts. Um, it feels as though some of you may have metabolized some grief. Some of you have metabolized grief in such a way that now there's some free flowing energy that you have internally. Now that you have metabolized some things that you were carrying, I'm very much feeling like some of you, there may have been some rumination, right, or some catastrophizing, meaning like certain thought patterns or certain going over certain scenarios or relationships or situations excessively, kind of like repeatedly. But some of you have kind of found your way outside of that loop, or you've been able to intervene the loop. So that, imagine, like, how when you get a cup, or you do like what people would spin a bottle and watch the water swirl in that cup or in that bottle. Well, we went from the swirl being stationary to now that swirl has kind of like it's been poured out. And an empty cup in that regard isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes the dishes do got to be washed, whether or not we want to wash the dishes. But if we want to prepare for the new meal, new drink, okay, we got to wash the cup, we got to wash the plate. Some of you may also have been, and this is a very interesting way to describe this, but some of you may also have been navigating some what could possibly be like depressive symptoms, or you may have been feeling lethargic or having very low energy. Okay. If you need professional support around this, seek the professional support that you need around that. I'm just noting that because sometimes when we're struggling to clean or when we're struggling to do like basic tasks, right, that can be indicative of us needing more care or more support. That is not a personal failure. If you need to outsource task or things that you need help with, outsource those things. Okay. But let me get back to what I was saying. Some of you also have been praying for, asking for, calling forth that sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff, and you deserve it. And so when you get it, I hope it's good to you, and I hope that you can receive it, however you need to receive it. Right, bask in it. Okay, somebody's getting ready to bask in your glory. So you ain't finna be sad or pouting about the friends that you lost, the lover that you lost, the person that left, or the fact that your family ain't show up the way that you need them to show up, right? Like some of us are growing our chosen family. Some of us may be growing our friendship circles. Some of us actually may be also growing some of our communal connections and partnerships in the work that we're doing. Some of you, okay, gonna have to work your mojo to intervene rejection sensitivity, okay? And beyond rejection as protection, all right, if it's a no for me, dog, that don't necessarily got anything to do with you. And sometimes it be like that. And sometimes some of you may be actually having to say no to some clients or some people that may be coming to you because it doesn't feel right or you can't quite put your finger on it. Ancestors are our eyes and ears in places and spaces that we can't be. And so don't feel bad if you are the one that's having to decline. Okay? Ancestors are also affirming your emotional maturity and your maturity in your relational intelligence. This is a point of growth. This has also been a point of healing for you. They're also affirming your dedication, your devotion, and for some, your discipline. All right? Lessons in tolerance. You don't have to tolerate some shit in the same ways that you may have been tolerating it in the past. And you have the agency and authority to say no, thank you. All right, group three. Group three, you have Oba, Expand, Impasse, and Okan. The wisdom of others prevents the king from being called a fool. Listen, if somebody don't want to listen to you, if somebody taking forever to integrate something that you shared, that's on them. That is on them. Okay, the strength of a person cannot be determined by size. So some of you are at the top of the mountain, right? You can see the clouds, you can see the sky, but you can also, right, see the rigidity of the horizon. You can also attune to sometimes the difficulty regarding our breath, catching our breath, the fatigue, the exhaustion at the top. So some of you actually need to sit your ass down somewhere, okay? That's just me being real. But for some, rest is productive, right? You don't have to always be doing something. You don't always be having to contribute. You don't always have to be, you know what I'm saying, in the mix. You can be out of the mix and things are still going to get fixed. Things are still going to get done. Progress is still going to get made. But for some of you, there may be some people who are looking to you for guidance or looking to you for the one like you might be the one who is engaged in strategy or planning, And I feel some of you are tired because you're like, actually, I don't want to be the one that's always got to tell you what to do. I'm always the one that's having to get the plans together. I'm always the one that is having to delegate. I'm always the one that's having to assign tasks and, manage things. And it's okay if you're tired because even with this hermit card that says, he who learns teaches, and the two of spades with the impasse, it feels like sometimes we do need to give people space and opportunity for them to integrate their own lessons, for them to integrate what they need to integrate. We need to sometimes remind ourselves that the ancestors can work with them in the same ways that they've been working with us, even if they have not been doing their ancestral work in the same ways that you've done your ancestral work. Because you've done your ancestral work, they are a benefactor of that work if they're in your vicinity, if they are in your space. I get the sense for some of you, you have an ancestral father who is helping to expand something that you've intended. They're helping to expand a project. They're helping to expand your vision. They're helping to expand your goals. Right? I'm getting the sense that, like, some of you, and for some of you, you could literally be a coach, but this also feels like the ancestral fathers are coaching you. The ancestral fathers are also encouraging you to take some time and space to yourself as needed. Yeah, you may be having some plans for expansion and there's a lot of things that you want to do, but some of this is going to unfold over the next 3 years. So you actually don't have to rush. You actually don't need to feel like you're behind. For some of you, your methodologies in terms of teaching may be shifting and changing. You could be adopting some new frameworks or creating your own framework that you're going to be putting out into the world or that you're going to be sharing. And for some of you, there could be a journey or some kind of pilgrimage, right? Like a sacred or holy place that you're called to. This could be a space that you're going back home. This could be you interested in what is the there's a particular branch of astrology where you check in to see what's the best place for what thing and where, right? Like, there's something about place and location that is significant regarding some kind of public facing work or some ancestral work even that you may be doing. Okay, I also get the sense that some of this is, in addition to the travel, there's some kind of collective gathering that is being facilitated. And so the ancestral fathers are affirming the lifelong teacher and the lifelong student that you know yourself to be. They're affirming your lesson plans. They're affirming your mobility even on the days where you feel like you don't have the energy, where you even on the days where you feel like you don't have the capacity, you don't have the resources. And mobility is not always about physical movement. Sometimes the mobility is spiritual in terms of the ways that we're navigating within our spirit. You get to teach and preach on your own terms. And some of you very much probably got some preachers, teachers, educators within your lineage, within your line. Some of you got some ancestral chiefs that are coming through. Yeah. Some of you also, there feels like the energy of an ancestral father who was apologetic because they didn't listen. And so if you feel them kind of stirring, it's because they're saying they want to get it right this time. This could have implications for a little one or a relative around you, right? That have may needed some guidance or some extra patience or some care or some support. All right. This is what I got. If you want some personal guidance, holla at me. I am also offering some energetic attunements. So if you need some energy medicine or a divination, send me a message or check my bio for the links. Take good care. Feel empowered to share feedback. Let me know how this resonated.